Dear students, today we are going to start a new chapter is called Taxonomy and Systematic Botany. So in the second unit of plant morphology and taxonomy of Angiosperm, this chapter is somewhat difficult to understand. So lot of problematic as well as, first of all, we should understand about what is taxonomy. The term taxonomy itself we can able to divide into taxonomous. Taxa means arrangements. Nomos means a systematic or under the rules or law. So arrangements of plants on the basis of rules and law is called as taxonomy. Then what is systematic botany? It is a system in which the study of taxonomy along with phylogenetic relation. What is phylogenetic relationship? Phylogenetic relationship is nothing but it is relating the present plant with the previous generation, with a genetic ability, with a genetic character, with chromosomal and DNA behavior. So such a study is called systematic botany. So taxonomy along with phylogenetic study of the plants will comes under systematic botany. This chapter deals with how do we identify the plants, how do we classify the plants, how do we naming the plants, how do we describe the plants. These are all comes under this concept of taxonomy and systematic botany. Usually, the human being is interrelated with plants in very ancient time itself because he is completely dependent upon plants for food, energy, shelter, clothing, drugs, beverages and breathing the oxygen which is given by the plants, as well as he is enjoying the aesthetic sense of environment while the plants are being very greenish, everlasting. So which is making a great attention among living organisms. So this will make a more attraction to the human being by his aesthetic sense of knowledge. So, as you know very well, the father of botany is Theophrastus. He has classified many plants, more than 500 plants in his classification. He has explained in details of De Historia Plantarum. It's a very good book he has written. In that book, he has classified more than 500 plants. Later on, some of the medicinal plants have been identified by the scientists and various tribal people by trial and error method they had found about various types of medicinal plants in the forest. More than 600 medicinal plants have been classified by Dioscorides, a Greek physician, a Greek doctor. So thereafterwards, lot of scientists have been involved to study the classification of plants by various scientists like Andrea Cicerbinia, John Ray, Tonfort, Jean Bohin, Gaspard Bohin, Carolus Linnaeus. They have plenty of classification have been done. So the older classification have been classified the living things into three major categories like plants, animals and microorganisms. Among plants, how they have classified? The very early classification was Linnaeus classification of species Plantarum in the year 1753 itself. So it is not only the classifying the plants on the basis of the morphological character. What are the external features are visible to us on the basis of, usually we used to classify what type of plants, whether it is tree or herb or shrub or climber or lioness. On the basis of it, we had used to classify. These are superficial explanation on the basis of morphological character, external features of the characters. So this is not the morphology alone will not be help us a perfect classification, because many of the branches also have been involved to study about the classification of the plants, such as cell biology, physiology, biochemistry, ecology, pharmacology, embryology, modern biotechnology, molecular biology, bioinformatics, molecular DNA technology. These are all will be helping us to identify the plants, to grouping the plants, to naming the plants, to classify the plants and describe the plants. So this comes under taxonomy. So then what is classification? What is the importance of, what is the need for classifications? So if the plants or any living things like animals or even microorganisms, if it is classified, it is easy to understand, easy to study about their detailed description of each and every plants in a common study. How do we identify? How do we know this? Suppose if you visit a supermarket, if you want to purchase anything, lot of things are available inside the supermarket. Wherever you want, you can take a trolley and you can collect it and keep it and give for bill. You can get it. How do we collect? If the things are scrambledly arranged here and there, how can you collect? Definitely not. You cannot able to collect your things whatever you want. And moreover, this will take more time to collect your items. The things which are going to be purchased by you in supermarket, if they assemble scrambledly or scatteredly, you cannot able to identify what are the things you want to do. So you have to spend a lot of time, and moreover it is very difficult to do as well. But on the other hand, if you visit a supermarket, if all these things are arranged in a separate manner, how? Certain vegetables groups are arranged in one track. Among the vegetables, they have arranged tomato, potato, vegetables, as well as fruits in separately. Then cosmetics like soaps, powders, or kitchen items like oils, various kinds of oils, they have arranged in a systematic manner. Then rice bags, then pulses, then what are the spices and condiments? These are all arranged in some other places. If they have arranged earlier perfectly, then it is easy for you. Within few minutes, you can collect it and get a bill. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So that is why the classification is must. If you have done the classification earlier, you can purchase very easily. So this is the method of classification. One more example I should say to you. Suppose if you are visiting a library, suppose if you want to take a book, suppose if you want to take a book of modern biotechnology, then what are the things you need? What is the title of the book? Who is the author? Where it is available? If the books are not arranged properly, how can you take it? You cannot, because if it is arranged earlier in a systematic manner. What is a systematic manner? Some of the books which are related to scientific, some of the books which is related to arts and science, some of the books which is related to Tamil, some of the books which is related to English literature, some of the books which is related to mathematics, some of the books if it is related to physics, some of the books are related to chemistry, some of the books which are related to plant science, some of the books which are related to animal science. Each and everything are arranged separately in separate racks. This will be easy to collect. Then correctly you can go to modern technology. Then biotechnology, modern biotechnology book can be collected from modern technology. So each and every books whatever the books you want. Suppose magazines are arranged in some racks, newspapers are arranged in some racks, right? So in such a way, in the library, they used to be arranged in a proper manner. And moreover, there is a catalog is also they had prepared. There is a notebook is also maintained on the basis of alphabetic order. Then whatever you want, you can go and get. So this is a method in which you can collect. Similarly, if you are visiting a medical shop, whatever the medicine if your doctor or prescribed, immediately they have taken and brought back to you. How is it possible? So these medicines also have been arranged on the basis of what are the things I had discussed earlier. In the similar fashion, they used to be arranged. Then we can collect it easily. So this is a method in which everything's to be classified. So classification is not only for plants or animals, even not for organisms. The classification is start from cradle to burial ground. In such a way, our life is completely dependent upon classifications. So the taxonomy deals with the classification, naming of the plants, classification of the plant, identification of the plant, and description of the plant. So these are completely deals in taxonomy. So such a type of field we are going to see. Next one is systematics. There is no much differences between taxonomy and systematic, but mild difference is there. What are the mild difference? Systematics is also a classification, but this classification is broad spectrum. That means a particular species. We are going to classify the organism on the basis of various taxa. What is taxa? So various hierarchical order. This hierarchical order will be called as taxa. What are the hierarchical order? I shall tell you later on. Then on the basis of the hierarchical order, various groups of terms we are using, these are called as taxa. But as far as systematics is concerned, it's a broad field of biology which deals with diversification of various species. Suppose if you are going to study about mango plant, Mangifera indica, it is a species. So this is broadly described about a particular species. It's a broad spectrum. It is also governs with the phylogenetic relationship. What is phylogeny? That means the present living things or plants are interrelated with the previous generation, with the genetical character, or chromosomal character, or gene, or DNA character. Such a type of relationship is called as phylogenetic relationship. So systematics is entirely different from taxonomy by the phylogenetic relationship is also to be done along with taxonomy, which is called as systematics. But taxonomy is very simple. That means it is naming the plant, identifying the plant, and giving the name of the plant. So if name is already given, then identify. If there is no name is given, so this is a new plant. That means you have discovered. Then you can try to give your own name. So it is naming the plant. Then describe. So these are all the things will be considered. Then classify. And then which category this will come. So classification plus nomenclature. Nomenclature means giving name. Is called taxonomy. So this is the main thing. Actually, as I said earlier, taxonomy is a term, it is a Greek term, which is divided into two words, namely taxis and nomos. Taxis means arrangements, nomos means rules or laws. That means we have to classify the plants according to the rules and laws. Then this is called as taxonomy. But systematics is a scientific study of kinds and diversity of an organism and all relationship among them. This is called systematics. So though there are two terms are used like taxonomy and systematic, but we are used to interchangeable way. but they are different in such a category. As I said just now, hierarchical order. What are the hierarchical order? I shall tell you one simple example. Then you can understand about what is taxonomic hierarchy. Suppose you are a student, you are a single person, you are a single individual. So, suppose your name is X. X is being in one home. So, you are being, so lot of members like you are a single individual, like many individuals like your parent, father, mother, brothers, sisters, so and so on. Lot of individuals are combined together to form a family. Your family is situated in a village or town or city. There is a place in which you are living. Then that place, that village, that town or the native is included in which district, which taluk. Then the taluk comes under district. For example, you are living in Vedali. So this belongs to Mandavaram taluk. The Mandavaram taluk comes under Ramanad district. Then this Ramanad district comes under state of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu state is in Indian nation. India is in Asian continent. Asia in the universe globe. So this is a systematic hierarchical order from top to bottom, from higher level to lower level. That means universe, Asia, Asian continent, Indian nation, then Tamil Nadu state, then Ramanathapuram district, then Mandavaram taluk, then Vedalai, and in your home and yourself. So this is a systematic order. So this is called hierarchy. In taxonomy is also having various hierarchy. Species is a basic unit of hierarchy. That means some of the living organisms, it may be plants or it may be animals or it may be microorganisms like bacteria, virus or fungi or so whatever may be. The organisms which are very similar in structure and the physiological character, and they are interbreed with each other, they are called as species. So this is the lowest order. Now some of the species are combined together. They are called as genus. So number of species are joined together to form genus. For example, mango plant. Its name is Mangifera indica. So indica is a species. Mangifera is a genus. So lot of species are joined together to come under the genus Mangifera. Almost all the mango plants comes under Mangifera. Then these are all the genus will comes under a family. Various types of family. Suppose cotton plant. Cotton plant comes under Malvaceae family. Gossypium hirsutum. Gossypium is a cotton plant. Hirsutum is a species. Gossypium genus. So these two, the species included in genus, then the genus included in family, like Malvaceae. Then that comes under an order, Malvaceae. So cotton plant comes under the order Malvaceae. So species, next one is genus, the next one is family. The family comes under order. Then after order, subclass, subclass and class. Then after class, kingdom. So from kingdom to various category, kingdom, class, subclass, then series, then order, then family, then genus, then species. So these are called as taxonomical hierarchy order. So taxonomic hierarchy was introduced by a great scientist who was called as Carolus Linnaeus. So it is the arrangement of various taxonomical level in descending order starting from kingdom to species. So this is called as hierarchical order, as I said, species, genus, family, order, class, division, and so on, and kingdom. So in such a way, various types of hierarchical order have been established. Next, we are going to see about concept of species. So, what are the various types of concept? There are two important concepts. One is process of evolution and another is product of evolution. So, biological species are classified in the process of evolution. The morphological species and phylogenetic species will comes under product of evolution. So, these are called as types of species. What is morphological species? Morphological species are nothing but if two mango plants are similar to each other, then we can able to compare they are comes under the same category, same species. That means their appearance. Their morphology means external features. External features means what is the shape of stem, leaves, flowers, root. These are called external morphology. If this plant is similar with another plant, so this is called as morphological species. Then biological species. What is biological species? If they are living things, whether it may be plants or animals, they can be interbreed with each other but reproductively isolated from one group to another group. Such a species is called biological species or isolation species. Next one is phylogenetic species. Phylogenetic species is nothing but an evolutionary species is a single lineage of ancestor descendant population which maintain its identity from other such lineage which has its own evolutionary tendencies and historical fact. What do you mean? That means, suppose if you are a person, if you are resemble with your grandparents or great grandparents, then you are comes under phylogenetic species. That means your previous generation and your current generations are matching each other. You are looking similar. You are looking similar morphologically, physiologically, and phylogenetically as well. Genetically as well. Such a type of relationship is called as, such a type of species are called as phylogenetic species. Next one is ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. What do you mean by ICBN? International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So we are speaking various languages throughout the world. More than 4,000 different languages are available in the world. Even India itself, more than 350 languages have been spoken. Among them, some of the languages are familiar. But in every languages, each and every plant will be called in different name. But all the names are unable to understand by every individual. That is why a common name to be given for every plant for whole universe. Such a type of naming method is called nomenclature. This naming the plant which have been done by certain rules and regulations. These rules and regulations have been formulated for every 6 years. Once in 6 years, they have to be assembled at a place and they have named it in different way. So that is called as International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. Actually, naming the plant in olden days, lot of method have been given. Binomial, polynomial, and their colloquial name. So in such a way, various names have been given. But nowadays, these all have been done in a common name. That is called ICBN. What is a common name? So assigning the name for plant is known as nomenclature. This is based on certain rules and recommendation of the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. What are the rules? The name of the plant have been given in a language of Latin. So naming of the plant should be in Latin language. So throughout the world we have to understand a particular plant species name have been done in Latin name. Suppose mango plant. Mango, name of the mango plant is Mangifera indica. So this is in Latin language. So throughout the world we have to explain through Latin language. Suppose if you naming the plant name should be consist of two words. This is called binomial. Bi means two. Nomial means name. So two, every living thing, not only plants but also animals, even microorganisms can have been called with two names are called as binomial. The first name is genus. The second name is species. The first name start with capital letter. Remaining all the letters should be in small letters. And the species name all should be in small letters only. And moreover, these are to be underlined separately. That means the genus name underlined separately, species name underlined separately. You should not underline combined together. So these are certain rules and regulations for International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So naming the plants, it's not an easy one. So we have to follow a systematic method. So that systematic method and rules or recommendations are called International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. At present, the ICBN was changed to ICN, International Code of Nomenclature. Actually, in the olden days, as I said just now, it had been given by two names. First name is genus, second name is species. If it is print, it should be underlined separately. If it is printed, that should be in italics. Italics means slightly bending towards right side. It is called italics print. See here, look at the picture. Remaining all the words are vertical. Here, theory elementaire de la botanique. This word is italics. That means it is slanting on right side. Such a type of classification is called ICBN or ICN. These plants name to be described by the scientist. Suppose if you are a new scientist, you have discovered a new plant or new animals. Suppose if you visited the Bay of Bengal in Gulf of Mannar, you might have seen an algae plant or a fish. It is a new one. You have to find it whether it is new one or it is already discovered. So the lot of flora are available, lot of books are available, keys, flora, monograph. So such a type of book we have to verify whether it is already discovered or not. If you have discovered as new, you are the scientist. You are author for the plant. Then you can give your name as well. You can give your own name. So that should be possess genus and species name. Sometime you can give your name as well, because as you are author, you can give your name as at last. Then this is called as author citation. So that is also comes under ICBN. So this is called as author citation. We can go through later on. So earlier in the year 1813, A.P. de Candolle is a famous scientist who has worked theory elementaire de la botanique, has been given the naming method. Then later on, Linnaeus, Carolus Linnaeus, A.P. de Candolle, Alphonse de Candolle, these are all the scientists have been proposed a law to rule, to classify and identifying, naming and describing the plants have been given on the basis of various ICBN principle. According to the ICBN means Code of Nomenclature. Botanical nomenclature is independent of zoological and bacterial nomenclature. Botany name is entirely different from animals and bacterial name. Plants name is entirely different from animals and bacterial name. Application of names and taxonomic group is determined by means of nomenclatural type. Various types are there. We are going to discuss about various types. What are the types? That means, suppose if you discover yourself, then you have to prepare a specimen or herbarium that have to be present to the submit in the ICBN Congress. Then they will verify and give whether you have discovered or not. So, the applications of names of taxonomical group is determined by the nomenclatural type. Nomenclature of a taxonomical group is based on priority of publication. That means who has discovered earlier, their name will be given. Suppose two persons have been discovered simultaneously, who has published earlier, they will be considered as the author. So in such a way, certain rules have been established for the ICM. Each taxonomical group with a particular circumscription, position, rank can be bear only one correct name. The name to be given only one correct name. The scientific names of the taxonomic groups are treated as a Latin regardless their derivations. So the name should be given in Latin description only. And moreover, the genus and species name should not be similar. Genus names should be separate. Species name also should be separate. And the meaning of this genus and species should not be ambiguous. Very clearly should be explained. Then only this will be understandable. That will be accepted. So, in olden days, we have to give description can be given only in Latin language. Suppose you are in Tamil Nadu, you could not know about Latin, but you should given only in Latin in olden days. But nowadays it is changed. In Melbourne, Australia, in the 2011, there was 18th International Botanical Congress was held. They had changed the code. What code? Then the description can be given not only in Latin, but also we can give in English as well. So this is a very good new rules have been established in the ICBN rules. So it is very good for each and every country to understand, other than those who belongs to Latin. Each and every plant's one name, one plant. One fungus, one name. One fossil, one name. So this to be followed. Because two scientists should not be given two names for a single plant. This is very careful. So in such a way, the ICBN have to be observed very carefully. If they are going to discuss about details of fungus, if they classify the fungus, if they naming the fungus name, they have to be done on the basis of reproductive method. Suppose if it is reproduced on the basis of asexual reproduction method, then it comes under anomorph. If it is reproduced by sexual reproduction, then this will comes under telomorph. In such a way, they will be classified. So this is scientific name. Suppose Mangifera indica is the name of mango. So this is a Latin name. This to be understood throughout the world. Apart from this, vernacular name is also there. Mango is a common name. This common name is also called as vernacular name. So this vernacular name is very often descriptive and poetic reference to a plant. So this is called as common name. So the names are regional or local and are not universal. Suppose, for example, Albizia amara, it is a plant which belongs to Mimosaceae. It shall be called as Tottal Chiningi in Tamil Nadu. So the same plant in North Tamil Nadu they will call one name, in South Tamil Nadu they will call another name. Albizia amara plant will be called as Usilai in South Tamil Nadu. The same plant will be called as Turinji in North Tamil Nadu. So this is called as vernacular name. So local name. So each and every plant can be named as in different languages or different, even the same language itself they can call it in different way. For example, Ricinus communis, castor plant, castor seed oil plant, Ricinus communis. So Ricinus communis is a binomial name, it's a scientific name, Latin name. This is called as Amanakku in Tamil. In some other places in Tamil Nadu, they used to call Kottamuttu plant. The same plant will be called as in different name, even the same language. This is called as vernacular name. Scientific name is, as I said just now, Mangifera indica for mango plant, Oryza sativa. This is for paddy plant, rice plant. Some of the plants used to be called with polynomial. In olden days, there was no binomial. Even we are suffering to study about binomial is very difficult to understand. Very difficult to spell also, because it is being in Latin name. Some of the people in olden days, a single plant have been called as multiple names. The names are describing the entire characteristic features of the plant. For example, Ranunculus plant. This was called as Ranunculus calicibus retroflexus pedunculus falcatis cale erectofolius compactus. That means a buttercup plant with reflexed sepals. Sepals are free from one another. Curved flower stalk. The pedicels are very curved, like a hook-like structure. Erect stem is vertical. And compound leaves. Leaves are being compound, not a simple leaves. These are being compound leaves. Such a type of plant, a single plant will be called with multiple name. It is called as polynomial. Poly means many, nomial means names. So giving many name to a plant is called as polynomial. Later on, some of the scientists, especially Carolus Linnaeus and Caspar Bohin, have been given involvement in the formation of binomial. Binomial means bi means two, giving plants to two names. In the year 1623 itself, Caspar Bohin have been introduced the binomial nomenclature. But later, this was very well established by Carolus Linnaeus. That is first word is genus, genera, and the second name is species. Already we had discussed in the same manner. Then author citation. Author citation means, suppose if you discovered one plant, then you can give the genus and species name. At the end, you can write your name with a single letter or a short form of name. For example, Solanum nigrum. In Tamil, Manatakali. Manatakali plant name is Solanum nigrum. It was discovered by Carolus Linnaeus. That's why he used to give Lin, L-I-N-N. Otherwise, Solanum nigrum L. That means the Solanum nigrum was discovered by Carolus Linnaeus. In short form, L. So, the L indicates the author. So, this indicating the name with a letter or a group of words, these are called as author citation. So, author citation is refers to a valid name of the taxa accompanied by the author's name who has published the name validly. Sometimes only one author might be there. Sometimes multiple authors might be there. If a single author, single name will be given, multiple author means they have to give the main scientist and others will be called as et al. Or et al. Et AL, all, et al. Means along with some other scientist. So these are given for multiple author who has discovered a plant. Look at this, some of the example for author citation. So Linnaeus can be explained by the letter L. Bentham, Bentham and Hooker. Bentham you have been given by Benth. If Robert Hooke and William Hooker, if they discovered hook. Robert Brown, RBR. J.P. Lamarck, LMK. A.P. de Candolle, BC. Wallis, Wall. Alphonse de Candolle, ADC. So in such a way, at the end of the scientific name, we have to indicate with these letters by author citation. Then taxonomical aids. What is the meaning of taxonomical aids? Suppose, as I said just now, suppose if you discovered a plant, then you can give your name. But it is a great problem is whether this is a new plant or this is already discovered by some other scientist. How do we know? In order to understand about whether the plant is new or this plant is already discovered, we are having various types of aids. These aids are called as taxonomical aids. The taxonomical aids like keys, flora, revisions, monograph, catalogs, herbarium, botanical garden and so on. So taxonomical aids are the tools for the taxonomical study of plant. Some techniques, procedure and stored information that are useful in identification and classification of organisms are called taxonomical aids. So various kinds of taxonomical aids are there, as is it. Among them, keys. Keys are dichotomously branched. What do you mean? Suppose living thing. It is divided into two parts, namely plants, animals. Then you can take a plant. The plant is further divided into whether it is living in water or land. It is aquatic, terrestrial. Then on the basis of habitat you have divided aquatic or terrestrial. Then in the terrestrial, then it is tall tree or small plant. Then it is comes under small plant. Then after small plant, whether it is herb or shrubs. So in such a way, each and every plants are classified on the basis of dichotomous keys. So this is called as keys. So these keys will be differentiated to different group. Each and everything are divided further. So such a type of aids is called as keys. Then botanical garden. What is botanical garden? Botanical garden is a garden in which almost all kinds of plants are available. These are having large trees, small plants, herbs, shrubs, cactus, succulent plant, greenhouse, shadows, tropical, alpines, exotic, arboreal, everything should be available. That should be having a proper house. That should be having lot of opportunity for research and supplying seeds to the people. This is giving a very good knowledge about taxonomical and anatomical study. This should be given a very good place in which they will provide the research on cytology, embryology and various fields of science. So botanical garden is a garden in which a true sense of all gardens are not botanical garden. Suppose near to your house you might be creating a new garden. This will not be called as botanical gardens. So botanical gardens are the centers for collection of plants in their various stages of living, from seeds to tall plant. Garden existed for growing a beautiful, attractive ornamental plants for aesthetic value, religious, and status reasons. The famous hanging garden is also, in Babylon, in Mesopotamia. It is an example of garden. But this is not botanical garden. For the purpose of science and education, the garden was maintained. Then this is called as botanical garden. The first botanical garden was maintained by Theophrastus in Athens. Later on, number of gardens have been established. In the world, very biggest and largest botanical garden is Kew in London. In India, the biggest garden is in Calcutta. Royal Garden in Calcutta. Royal Botanical Garden in Kew in England. So in United Kingdom, it's a very big garden. So what is botanical garden? The botanical garden which is giving aesthetic value which attract the great banyan trees and some other plant like tall trees, sequoia, various gymnosperm, pteridophyte, bryophytes, algae, almost all the plants should be available, which gives more attractions, like in Indian Botanical Garden in Calcutta. Gardens have a wide range of species and supply taxonomical material for botanical research. Garden is used for self-instruction or demonstration purposes. It can integrate information of diverse fields like anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry, cytology, physiology, and ecology as well. The botanical garden acts as a conservation center for diversity. Diversity means varieties of plants, herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, creepers, and all these. Even very rare and endangered species. What do you mean by rare and endangered? Some of the species are going to be extinct. They are going to be destroyed. That rare plants to be very carefully preserved and multiply. It offers annual list of available species to the public and free exchange of seeds as well to the public. Botanical garden gives information about method of propagations. What type of method have to be reproduced, whether it is vegetative or asexual or sexual reproduction have to be followed. They have to be the sale of plant material to the general people. These all will be given by botanical garden. We cannot be able to compare with now normal garden with botanical garden. So if you see National Garden, Botanical Garden. So in National Botanical Garden in Lucknow, which was established in the year 1948. Around 500 species of trees are there. There is arbor tree. 500 species of rose hybrids are available in National Botanical Garden of Lucknow. In this, major attraction is germplasm collection. Exit conservation is also very important. Similarly, one of the important botanical gardens is there in Trivandrum, Kerala, JNTB Botanical Garden, which was established in the year 1979, I think, which is conserving tropical plant genetic resources. Around 4,000 species of flowering plants are available in Trivandrum, Kerala, JNTB Botanical Garden. 300 species of non-flowering plants are also available. Major attraction in this botanical garden is bamboo-stem. 69 species of bamboo-stem is in Yercaud near Salem. A great botanical garden is there. National Orchidarium Yercaud. This was established in the year 1963, I think. It is maintained by Southern Circle of BSI. Around 3,000 trees are available and 1,800 shrubs are also available. Major attraction of this Yercaud National Orchidarium is insectivorous plant. Some of the plants will catch the insect and kill for nitrogen. Even though they are photosynthetic plant, they are autotrophic plant, they can capture the insect for nitrogen. So insectivorous plant can be available like Nepenthes, Dionia, Drosera, Utricularia. These are the plants will be available in ERCOT. In India, the biggest and largest botanical garden is Indian Botanical Garden, Kolkata. This was established in the year 1777 by Lieutenant Colonel Robert Cade. This was largest and oldest botanical garden in India. There are around 15,000 species of plants are available. The major attraction is great banyan tree. Very big banyan tree is there in Indian Botanical Garden in Kolkata. So as we discussed earlier about taxonomical aids, keys have been given. Then flora. Flora is most important one. Among them, Gamble Flora is one of the important book. What is flora? Flora is a document of all plant species in a given geographical area. What are the plants are available in a particular geographical area? Geographical area means whether it is in India or in Asia continent or in Antarctica or whatever may be the geographical location if you are going to be identified. What are the plant species which are available? Everything will be documented. These are called as flora. With the help of flora, we can able to understand what type of plant this one, what are the habit, what is the habitat, in which location they can able to survive, what is the type of roots, what is the type of stem, leaves, branches, then the floral shapes, pedicellate or bracteate, or they are having calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, everything, what are the different shapes, everything we can able to differentiate. So on the basis of it, it is new plant or you are going to discover a new plant. Everything we can able to understand. With the help of the book is called flora. This flora further divided into many categories, namely local flora. Local flora means which is cover a certain limited area, usually a particular state or a particular country or a city or a mountain range. Within this area, how many number of plants are available? What are the entire, almost all the plants will be calculated, all the plants are studied and they have been documented in a book. Then we can able to understand. Then regional flora. What do you mean by regional flora? Regional flora includes large geographical area or botanical region. For example, the entire Tamil Nadu, Carnatic by Matthew, flora of Madras Presidency is a very good flora. So this includes what are the plants, from small plants to the tree, everything have been given in that flora. Example, Gamble flora, Fisher flora, these are very good example. Then another flora is the continental flora. So what are the plants are available in a particular continent? For example, flora of Europea. The flora of Europea is having what are the plants which are present in the European continent. Everything will be there in the particular flora. So with the help of it, we can able to understand, identify, classify whether it is old plant or new plant. Everything can be found. If it is not available in the book, that means you have discovered a new plant. Then you can give it for ICBM. Then you can give your own name, your author. Then you can give for your author citation. Then electronic flora is also available. What do you mean by electronic flora? It is nothing but the digitalized form of flora published online. So with the help of internet, with the help of computer, we can able to register. Suppose e-flora of China. So if you are being in India, you can able to browse what are the plants which are available in China through internet. So this is called as e-flora. This provide information and also function as an identification tool for entire scientific field. So far we have seen about keys and flora. Now we are going to see about monograph. So in the flora, understand the differences between flora and monograph. If you see the flora, what are the plants are available in that particular area or in the particular geographical area means, suppose what are the plants are available in Tamil Nadu. Yeah, all the plants will be included in the book. That is called flora. Then what is monograph? Monograph is nothing but a particular plant or particular family plant are available all over the world. These are called as monograph. So the monograph is a book in which is consist of all the detailed analysis of a plant species or a plant genus or plant family. That family plant wherever it is available. Whether it is available in India or it is available in Antarctica or it is available in Europe or it is available in South America, whatever may be, wherever it is available. But the particular plant will be discovered in detail. For example, Mangifera indica, mango plant. Whether the mango plant is available in India or in some other continent have been compared. So each and everything will be comes under this book, but no other plant will be included. The particular family and particular plant only will be available in monograph. So this is a difference between flora and monograph. Then revisions. There is no much differences between monograph and revisions. So taxonomic revision is carried out for a family or genus, but usually taxonomical revision is less comprehensive than monograph. That means the monograph will be given for a certain region. Monograph will be given for entire global, entire world, but revisions will be given for a particular family or particular species or particular genus for only a certain internal geographical area. That means, for example, wheat plant available entire world. This is monograph. Wheat plant available in Tamil Nadu. It is revisions. So understand the differences. So what are the wheat plants are available? Almost entire world. Everything will be available in the book. It is called monograph. So another book which deals with what are the wheat plants which are available only in Tamil Nadu. So this is called revisions. Then catalog. Okay, catalogs are the books of libraries, rich in botanical titles. They have special value in taxonomical studies. To refer a catalog, one should know full name of the author, exact title of the book, exact date of the publications of particular edition. Such a things are called as catalogs. So far we have studied about taxonomical aids as well as botanical garden. Now we are going to say another concept is called as herbarium. So herbarium is interesting phenomenon. What is herbarium? Because this herbarium is very much important for the discovery of new plant. So this is a evidence which should be shown to the scientists in ICBM whether you have discovered or it is already discovered. So such a type of things is called herbarium. What is herbarium? In modern days, when I was studying in higher secondary and colleges, we used to collect herbarium. At least 15 to 20 herbarium seeds have to be submit for the practical purposes. Then only we can get marks. But nowadays herbarium collection is not available, not given for students. It's a very good idea to collect herbaria, because if you collect the herbaria, you can able to understand about the particular plant somewhat without knowing the knowledge of book. You can able to understand about the plant very clearly, because we can visit many places to collect various types of plants for the preparation of herbaria. Okay, come to the point. How do we collect the herbarium? First of all, what do you understand about herbaria? Herbaria are stored house for preserved plant collection. That means the living plants have to be cut, either the twig of the plant or a small branches of the plant along with flowers, if possible, fruits and seeds as well. So these plants are preserved in the form of pressed and dried specimens mounted on a sheet of paper. This sheet of paper is also to be printed, that should be given according to the scientific research ICBN have been given. A particular size, length and height to be given in the particular dimensions. So the herbarium acts as a center for research and function as a source of material. How do we prepare? How do we label? Everything can be studied with the help of this diagram. Look at the picture. This picture will be help you to identify, give how do we prepare the herbarium. Look at the picture. Here one blank is there, wooden blank. At the base another blank is there. In between the blank, number of newspapers have been kept and tied with a rope. Very interesting thing. How do we collect? You may visit the field, then collect the plant which is having rich amount of flowers. Along with the flowers, a branch or twig of the plant to be collected. Immediately the plant to be spread very clearly, very carefully on a newspaper. At the bottom one newspaper have to be spread. Look at the picture, the second picture. On the newspaper, the plant have been spread. Arrange it in a perfect manner. Don't scramble. Simply arrange very, very perfectly with clear opening. Then you have to arrange another newspaper over it. Similarly, number of newspaper you can arrange on same way. Number of plants have to be collected and that to be kept inside. Step one by one. Then afterwards, one blank at the bottom, another blank at the top. Then that have to be pressed with tight rope. Each and every day they should be open and replace the paper, because what are the water content which are present on the plant will be squeezed out. That water will be present on the newspaper, because newspaper is very easily absorbed water because it is low content. So its imbibing capacity is more. That is why which can absorb the water content. We should not leave it, because these water content along with the plant extract which cause fungal attack. That is why these newspaper to be regularly replaced every day. Then this to be done for more than 30 days. Thereafterwards, complete water content which are present on the plant will be squeezed out. Then the plant will be dried. Then the plant will be ready to paste. So this is herbarium seed. These are having a particular length. This height should be 41 centimeter. This width should be 29 centimeter. The fixed length of the herbarium seed to be available. Otherwise you have to be cut. At the corner labeling should be given. Then you can paste it with either gum or cello tape. Thereafterwards, you can give the description or labeling description to be done in the place. So what are the things to be named there? What is the name of the plant? Binomial name. What is the local name of plant? When did it is collected? On what date? What time? Where it is collected? Which location? What is the latitude, altitude of the globe? Have to be noted down. Then, what is the family? What is the order? So, on the basis of any one of the classification, we have to arrange the systematic position. Usually, we used to follow Bentham-Hooker classification. On the basis of Bentham-Hooker classification, we used to give the description. Who has collected? Whether it is new or old, it is available in Gamble or whatever may be. Everything have been noted down at the corner. So this is called herbarium. This herbarium to be collected. Another very important thing is, These herbariums sit along with the plant will be spoiled or eaten by either insect or fungal. So that's why we should be use certain chemical to spread to avoid infections or which will be spoiled by either insect or fungus. By adding naphthalene powder or naphthalene ball, otherwise mercuric powder, 1% mercury powder or 2% mercury chloride or naphthalene, DDT, carbon disulfide. Such a type of chemicals have to be added. These should be kept in 20 degrees Celsius. So in a particular location, then only this will be maintained properly. So these are all the things to be followed for making herbarium. So this is called the making of herbarium. What are the uses of herbarium? Lot of uses are available. Herbarium provides a raw material for research study. These herbariums to be arranged a proper way of classification. Hence it is the voucher specimen. Voucher specimen means this will be used as a newly discovered or old discovered. In which base of classification that to be done. Whether it is new or old have to be understand with the help of what are the materials are available. Herbarium provide opportunity for documenting biodiversity and studies related to the field of ecology and conservation of biology. The type specimen or voucher specimen play an important role in studies like floristic diversity, environmental assessment, ecological mechanism and survey of unexplored areas as well. The world's biggest herbarium is Kew Herbarium in London, southwest London. So more than 750,000 species are available. Herbariums are available. So it is also consists of various library in Kew Herbarium. So that's all about herbarium.